I just wanna keep you right here. I just wanna keep you right in front of me. I just wanna keep you right here. I just wanna keep you right here. I just wanna keep you right in front of me. I just wanna keep you right. I just wanna keep you right here. Ooh, I just wanna keep you right here. Ooh, I just wanna keep you right in front of me. I just wanna keep you right.
Hey.
Here,
Ew.
here, just play with. You want to play with this one? Here, just put it here. Don't play with it, okay?
No, 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 Daddy. No, no, no.
What's up, everyone? Vu of Envu Films, and I'm back with another idiotic video for you to watch. Once again, I have my daughter here with me. She wants to follow her dad around. I just got off work, so she's trying to spend some time with me. So you have a problem with it, I don't really give a crap. Anyway, today I want to talk about something very important, something that could be controversial if you like other camera brands or whatever, but I want to talk about why I use Sony cameras for all of my work, and today specifically wedding films. Okay, so I'm going to try to come up with 5 reasons, and the first reason is autofocus. So this past weekend I filmed a wedding, and the photographer, she was a bit unorthodox, she was a bit unpredictable. Even though we had communicated a lot prior to the ceremony, during the ceremony, and I observed her throughout the ceremony, she was still very unpredictable. But luckily, I shoot with Sony cameras, and Sony autofocus worked to perfection to help me get the shot that I needed to get with no issues. I have the actual raw footage of exactly what went down and what I had to do to get the shot. I have actual footage of what happened and what I had to do to get the shot, all raw footage, unedited, which I'll show in just a second. But I also want to say that this is not to bash wedding photographer or this particular photographer. It's just part of the day. Photographers are obviously at 100% of every wedding that exists. There's a photographer there. Videographers were probably there 15-20% of the time, maybe even less. So for the most part, I know what the photographers need, and I understand what they have to do to get the shots that they need. So I never blame the photographer ever for missing a shot or what have you. It is up to me to prepare myself as videographer to be able to handle any situation and get the shot no matter what, which means backup cameras, being on a gimbal, and just being able to run and gun. So with that said, I want to show you what happened. All right, so here the photographer is to my left. She has 7200 on, and I am to her right, thinking that she's going to stay 7200 this whole time. So I set up my 50 as my 50 millimeter in APS-C mode to prepare to just get them tracking down the aisle here. 50 millimeter in APS-C mode would be about 75 millimeters, so that's what I have it set up. And of course, she decides to move forward. Luckily, I switched over to full frame mode, and just the autofocus locked in, and I was able to just walk backwards and track them at 50 millimeter f1.8 all the way back. And then I just left it here like this and watch as the Sony camera just autofocused on everybody and track them. Lock, track, lock, track, lock, track, lock, track, 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 lock, track, 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 lock, track, track, track. And keep in mind, this is 60 frames per second, so I could do slow-mo if I wanted to. Track, 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 lock on, track, track, track. And if you just keep watching, it just pretty much locks on to everybody and just tracks them just enough. And as soon as they're gone, it tracks on the next person. This is incredible. This is just unheard of, the speed in which it tracks, and it even finds them at the way back. Like if I was on tripod with no autofocus, I would have been screwed. Gimbal and Sony is for the win. So there is that, and as you can see, the autofocus was amazing, and it came in clutch right out the gate. And this is the exact setup that I use for that situation. This is the Zhiyun Weebill S with the Sony 50mm Zeiss f1.4, and there's a great gimbal. It handled the weight. That's all I'm going to talk about Zhiyun. I thought about making an additional Weebill S video, but that is it. That's all I'm going to talk about this gimbal. It's a great gimbal. I highly recommend it, but I'm not talking about it no more. So, secondly, the reason why I like to use Sony cameras for my wedding films is great ISO performance. Everyone knows Sony has great ISO performance, you know, with the A7S II, and the A7 III is no different. You could shoot in all ranges of low light situations. Even though at light receptions, there's some cases where I have to be at 3200 ISO, 6400 ISO, and even more. And I'm confident in the ISO performance that I could shoot at 6400 ISO, 8000 ISO, and the footage would be still completely usable with no noise reduction. Thirdly, the dynamic range of Sony, not just photo, but video. A lot of times we shoot in backlight situations. I really don't like blown out highlights, so I tend to expose more for the highlights and have the footage kind of underexposed, like for the skin tones, and I would lift the shadows up in post, and the footage turns out fine. And I get to hold on to highlight detail. And that is thanks to Sony's dynamic range. A lot of people will say, oh, well, these other brands that rhymes with Canon have, you know, better file sizes. Like, I don't know what it is, like 440 megabytes per second for their 1080p or 4K, whatever. And that doesn't mean anything, because all the footage examples I've seen of Canon EOS R, you know, to be more specific, since it competes with A7 III, it looks like crap. There's a lot of aliasing, 4K is cropped, and it's soft. Okay, no, it's not the color science, it's just soft. It is soft. It is soft like the rice I have for dinner. Okay, it is just, it's not the colors, it's softness. And if you like soft skin tones, yeah, great, the skin tone's soft, so is the rest of the image. It's just completely soft. So now that that's out the way, fourthly, if that's a word, the size. I mean, after a long day of gimbaling and it's the reception time and I'm just trying to film some dancing, I just grab the handheld Sony like this on a 35mm f1.8, great for low light situations, and I just film handheld like this during the wedding. I just, you know, get with the crowd and start filming, you know, them dancing with this exact setup. And it's light, it's small, and what happens is when people on the dance floor, they see just like a setup like this and not like something big DSLR or a big camcorder or like even like a big gimbal setup, they don't get bothered by it. So they end up dancing naturally. They are more likely to like interact with the camera, and it leads to very dynamic reception footage, reception dancing. And I would like to say that I like to film the entire wedding as best as possible, including just guest dancing to include in the wedding film. And I find that I get the best results when I could just go into the dancing crowd handheld and just capture everyone candidly. And sometimes they even like look at the camera and dance for the camera and do all these moves. So it looks very cool. And that's the fourth reason why. The fifth reason why, which, you know, this might seem strange to some folks, but these cameras are relatively cheap. You could get like 4, 5 of them for under 10 grand. And yes, it sounds very expensive, but as a professional and you're doing this a lot, the price is not an issue. So you're able to afford 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cameras to have multi-angle ceremony setups. You could provide some for your second shooter. You could have one on gimbal and one on handheld with a different lens. Especially for me, I shoot primes. I don't like to use zoom, so I need like multiple cameras. It's just great to be able to get high-end quality professional cameras that aren't super expensive. Like, you know, not to bring up Canon again, but if you want like you buy like a 1DX, you can only get like 2 of those for 10 grand versus I could have 5 angles. What's better? Soft, mushy footage from 2 Canon 1DXs or nice, crispy, sharp footage from 5 Sony A7IIIs at a wedding? You tell me, okay? What is more dynamic? Couple angles here and there or 5? So that is why I like using the Sony Alpha cameras for weddings, specifically A7III, A7R3, Alpha 6400. So I currently have 2 A7IIIs, 1 A7R3, 1 Alpha 6400. Those are what I use at weddings. And my main second shooter, as you probably already know, Say Park, he also has A7III, and he used A7S II as well, but his main camera is A7III. So we literally have 4 to 5 cameras at a wedding all the time. As a bonus, 6th reason why I like using Sony cameras for weddings is the fact that Nikon is Nikon, Panasonic is still trying to get focus, and Canon absolutely sucks. So there you have it. I mean, what are my options? Fujifilm, I do like, but you know, there's some issues there too. Batteries don't last long. There's like, to get the most out of it, there's some things I gotta do. A 4K 60 is cropped in, like, and is already a APS-C sensor camera. So, I mean, there's still too many compromises for me to sit there and, you know, want to switch over to Fujifilm, especially since I'm invested in Sony and Sony Glass and all that stuff. So that is that. Okay. My bit. Do you have any additional reasons of why I use Sony cameras for wedding films?
Hello, Mr. Vũ. I don't have any more reason for you to use Sony for wedding because Sony is trash. You need to use Canon. Canon have much better color science. Look at your YouTube video now. It look like trash. You look like green alien. Not illegal alien like your uncle, but you just look like green alien. That's what you look like. I told you your channel track. You give people wrong information.
Shut up now.
You give people bad information. You a bad channel, bad YouTube channel. No one subscribe you.
You're finished.
Whatever you say. Whatever you say. You need to hurry up. Finish your stupid channel before your Alpha 6400 overheat. Why do you stop your stupid channel now before your 6400 overheat? Battery gonna die soon.
Shut
up. It lasts 2 minutes.
Off.
Ado.
Anyway, that's the last time my bit is going to be on this channel. I don't know. Let me know what you think in the comments below if my bit should come back. So, that should be it for today. If you have any questions regarding this video or any other random questions about Sony cameras, please leave a comment below. Follow me on Instagram at nvu.films. And if you like this content, if you want to see more, please hit that subscribe button. Please like if you like the video. And till next time, lighten up. Like I lightened up using Sony Alpha cameras.